Bill Maher thinks WNBA rookie and #1 draft pick Caitlin Clark is being targeted by other players because she's not a lesbian and she's white.
The actual reason for Clark's contract in Europe was just revealed by Bill Maher, and it confirms our suspicions. Since Clark doesn't fit into their small clique, they naturally made her life terrible. After all, 85% of the league is made up of black people and lesbians, and Clark certainly doesn't suit those demographics.
The league is very lesbian, and she's not. And there's race. There's a lot of going on here.
But rather than appreciating her talent, they treat her as though she's only there to make money for them. I'm sorry, WNBA, but perhaps if you concentrated on your core, offering rather than promoting social justice, you wouldn't be losing stars like Clark. Now that she's leaving for Europe, where she will be valued, everyone is in tears, even though Clark owes them nothing.
Struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said.
Stated as regarding Caitlin Clark's contract, Bill Maher didn't simply casually drop a bombshell. Instead, he made it very clear. The real issue for Caitlin was not winning games or making it through the league because the league didn't want her there. Caitlin fled because she had to. She was in survival mode. She didn't pack her bags and fly to Europe because of a minor contract dispute or a flashy new deal. Let's be honest. This wasn't about money or convenience. Maher revealed the complete chaos that exists within the WNBA players' locker rooms, blowing the lid off. The league administrators appeared more concerned with ensuring Caitlin didn't feel comfortable, regardless of the fact that she was the greatest addition to the WNBA in years. It mattered because she wasn't compatible with the political narrative they were attempting to.
I think it's natural for a megastar to come in and people say, I'm kind of tired of hearing about it.
It's everything. It's women are catty. The league is very lesbian, and she's not. And there's race. There's a lot of going on.
The plot Caitlin didn't fit their preconceived notions of the ideal. She is white, straight, and apparently in the WNBA, that's enough to paint a huge target on your back. The league, which is constantly bragging about how inclusive they are, apparently couldn't handle it when one of their biggest stars didn't fit the mold. Instead of celebrating her incredible talent, they seemed more interested in keeping her hidden, almost as if they were embarrassed that she was the one making headlines and propelling ticket sales.
Now, there's also a racial element to this. We can't deny that.
The WNBA, which is known for its stunning hypocrisy, was quickly called out by Maher for being Maher. They were the ones to turn their back on their biggest star, Caitlin, because she didn't fit the league's idealized image. From the beginning, she was treated like an outsider, receiving cruel remarks. Other players gave off shady signals. It was like high school drama, only with worse footwear. Rather than celebrating her for essentially saving the league, they treated her like a bother, and let's not even speak about how ugly it went.
The tapers were getting body checked. This is a game the other day, and that was pretty deliberate. And look at the other girl on her team coming over. See, if this was men, they defend each other on their same team. Men will fight from two teams, but when somebody checks you on who's on your team, you defend that guy.
When Angel Reese confronted Caitlin Clark during the 2024 regular season, she slapped her in the head, but it wasn't just what she did that got people talking. No, it was the entire vibe surrounding it that made them pause and ask, wait, did she really just do that?
Yeah, that's right.
Is being reviewed for possible upgrade to a playground.
I think it'll be upgraded here.
This wasn't your typical trash talk. Rather, it felt personal, as if Reese was putting her stamp on it. Some fans even went so far as to call it a calculated move, as if she was directly planning Clark's downfall on the court. Sure, Reese has always been a fiercely competitive player who loves to stir things up, but this was different. It wasn't trash talk anymore. Rather, it was the kind of shade that makes headlines and leaves everyone wondering what exactly.
Just can't. Angel Reese is a hater. And her whole media popularity, her whole platform is built off the back of Caitlin Clark.
And last, to add even more intrigue, DJON, during the opening game of the 2024 WNBA playoffs between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, Carrington chose to enter the fray as if the drama already had reached a new height. Carrington attempted a classic technique from a Three Stooges sketch, the EY Pook, but this time Clark wasn't amused. Instead, she ended up with a bruised eye and a lot of unanswered questions.
I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me. And opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with. That's what Caitlin Clark...
The timing couldn't have been worse. After Clark shot a terrible 4 of 17 from the field during a nightmare game, Carrington gave her an eye poke for good measure. Naturally, Carrington was quick to dismiss the incident, saying it was an accident. But let's just say that the fans weren't exactly buying that line of reasoning. I mean, during a playoff game, people were scrutinizing the entire situation more than Clark herself. Naturally, both Carrington and Clark denied any wrongdoing, but you could practically hear the eye rolls from everyone in the stands.
But damn it, in the first 2 minutes of this game, this Dejanay Carrington stabbed Caitlin Clark with her fingernails right in the eye.
And let's not even talk about the referees. Bill Maher made sure everyone knew what the fans had been complaining about for the entire season. Caitlin Clark was being completely screwed by the officiating. More phantom fouls were called on her than you'd see in a bad ghost movie. Some of these calls were so strange that even the normally non-controversial commentators were raising their eyebrows and actually asking questions about what the refs were doing. Analysts began to notice that Clark was getting fouled out frequently and that her opponent appeared to have some sort of immunity card. They also pointed out that the WNBA wasn't just watching this happen. Rather, they were contributing to the issue.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place.
The racial controversy that has been circling around Caitlin Clark and her fan base has been the drama that just won't go away. And believe me, players on the WNBA like Alyssa Thomas and Angel Reese have been adding gasoline to the fire as well. Reese, who has been at odds with Clark since their college days, has never been shy about it. She has spoken out about it on social media and even on her podcast, Angel Unapologetic, where she says she has received a lot of hate mail and threats, many of which, she claims, are from Clark supporters.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists. The people coming up with excuses to hate Caitlin Clark and the new fan base that she brought.
When you thought it couldn't be much more intense, she wasn't shy about calling them out either. Here comes Alyssa Thomas throwing in her hat as well. Following the 2024 playoff series between her Connecticut Sun and Clark's Indiana Fever, Thomas didn't hold back when she said that she encountered more racism in that one season than she had in her entire 11-year career. So, yes, the pot wasn't just stirred, it was boiled over, but no one believed her because she is adored for her positive outlook.
Her fan base is hated. It's the wrong type of fans. They tweet mean things to Alyssa Thomas. This stuff is a...
The WNBA released a statement denouncing racism from fans after Thomas went so far as to say that the playoff series against Clark's team was a racial battleground for her. However, the damage had already been done. The public's already intense reaction was heightened, and guess who was caught in the center of it all? That's right, Caitlin Clark, who had emerged as the league's face following her rookie season, smashing records and shocking people, but suddenly her fans were being called bigots.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who's a former Rice University basketball player, weighed in on this.
I think it's really crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody can deny the fact that she has completely transformed fans' interest and enthusiasm for women's basketball.
The situation became so out of control that Clark herself was forced to address it during a press conference after her team was eliminated from the playoffs. She called the hateful comments trolls and tried to redirect the conversation back to the game, the league, the actual outcome, and the fans who weren't busy spreading hate. However, the social media beast had already latched onto the story and wasn't going to let go. The damage had already been done, and regardless of Clark's statements, she and her fanbase were already being portrayed negatively.
The reason Caitlin Clark is where she at because she is a baller and she's likable, she's smart, she have decorum, all the things that you look for in an athlete. She got it. Like Michael Jordan had it. Like Kobe Bryant had it. Even LeBron James got it.
Bill Maher, of course, wasn't going to sit on the sidelines and keep quiet about this. Instead, he launched into the conversation, pointing out how these racial accusations had effectively poisoned the well for Clark. Being associated with a racist fanbase wasn't just some online gossip. It became her reality, affecting her relationships in the locker room, on the court, and probably even at the neighborhood grocery store. Maher didn't play around either, calling the accusations flimsy at best. However, those unfounded accusations still managed to get ingrained in the fundamental structure of the WNBA's internal operations.
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even return.
It's hard to blame her for accepting an offer from Europe that didn't come with any baggage. It must have seemed obvious to them that they valued her for her basketball skills rather than how she fit into a social media narrative. For Clark, it wasn't just about finding a new team or a new salary. It was also about maintaining her sanity because the WNBA had become so dysfunctional that it was difficult to recognize the sport at all. The league, which should have been about celebrating basketball, became entangled in controversies that had nothing to do with the game of hoops. Maher's analysis of the situation was extremely clear. This wasn't just a Caitlin Clark problem, it was a WNBA problem. Rather than extending a red carpet to its biggest stars, the league allowed toxic narratives to take over. Racial accusations, finger-pointing, and total chaos obstructed what could have been a successful outcome for both Clark and the league. As a result, in the end, Clark was forced to leave Europe, which gave her the opportunity to play the game without the additional baggage.